She died on a Tuesday. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. She died the way people die when no one is paying attention anymore. When the calls stop coming. When the system has moved on. Her name was Claire Hastings, and I didn't know she was already gone until 3 weeks after they buried her. My name is Harriet Sinclair. I'm 55 years old. I work in the records department of the county prosecutor's office in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've worked there for 27 years. I process paperwork. I file things. I answer phones that other people don't want to answer. I am the kind of woman people forget is in the room. Claire was too. That's why I noticed her. I met Claire in the waiting area outside courtroom 4 on a Thursday morning in October 2 years ago. She was sitting alone on the wooden bench near the window, holding a folder in her lap. She wasn't crying. She wasn't on her phone. She was just sitting there very still, looking at nothing. I had seen that look before. I see it all the time in my work. It's the look of someone who has been told to wait and wait and wait again, until waiting becomes the only thing they know how to do. I sat down 2 seats away from her. After a while she spoke. "Do you work here?" "I do," I said. "How long does it usually take?" "Depends," I said. "What are you here for?" She looked down at the folder. "Protective order," she said quietly. "Against my husband." I nodded. I didn't tell her it would be okay. I don't lie to people. "You have a lawyer?" I asked. "No," she said. "I was told I didn't need one for this part." That was technically true. But it wasn't the whole truth. Claire Hastings was 34 years old. She worked as a pharmacy technician at a CVS on the east side of town. She had been married for 9 years. She had no children. She had no family in the area. Her husband's name was Patrick Hastings. He was a sergeant with the Lancaster City Police Department. That's when I knew. I knew what was going to happen to her. Not the details. Not the shape of it. But I knew. Claire didn't get her protective order that day. The judge continued the hearing because Patrick's attorney filed a motion for more time. Claire left the courthouse with the same folder she'd brought in. I saw her again 2 weeks later. Same bench. Same folder. This time the hearing happened. Patrick showed up in uniform. He was calm. He was polite. He smiled at the judge. His attorney was a man named Donald Fisk, who I knew from other cases. Claire's husband sat in that courtroom and explained, very reasonably, that his wife was struggling with anxiety and depression. That she had stopped taking her medication. That she had become paranoid and volatile. He said it all with the kind of steady, tired sadness that sounds like the truth. Claire tried to explain what had actually happened. She tried to tell the judge about the times Patrick had grabbed her. About the holes in the drywall. About the night he held her down on the kitchen floor and told her no one would ever believe her. But she was shaking when she said it. Her voice kept breaking. The judge denied the protective order. He said there wasn't enough evidence of imminent danger. He suggested marital counseling. Claire walked out of that courtroom alone. I followed her into the hallway. "Claire," I said. She stopped. She turned around. Her face was blank. "I believe you," I said. She looked at me for a long time. Then she nodded once and walked away. If you've listened this far, it means something here is resonating with you. Take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this story if you want more like it. I didn't see her again for 8 months. When I did, it was because her name appeared on a case file that crossed my desk. Patrick Hastings had filed for divorce. He was seeking sole ownership of their house. He was claiming Claire had abandoned the marriage. I pulled the file. There was an affidavit from Patrick describing Claire's erratic behavior. There was a statement from his sergeant. There was a note from a counselor Claire had seen twice. There was nothing from Claire. I called the number listed for her in the system. It was disconnected. I looked up her employment records. She wasn't working at CVS anymore. She had been let go 4 months earlier for attendance issues. I started asking around. Quietly. Carefully. A clerk in family court told me Claire had tried to file another protective order 3 months after the first one was denied. But she had missed the hearing. Someone else told me Claire had been staying with a friend for a while. Then that friend had asked her to leave. I kept looking. I found Claire in June. She was living in a room above a laundromat on the south side. I went to see her. Claire answered the door. She looked different. Thinner. Older. She stared at me. "I remember you," she said. "I wanted to see if you were okay," I said. She almost smiled. "I'm fine," she said. She wasn't fine. We sat on the floor. He told me what had happened. After the protective order was denied, Patrick had convinced her to come home. He'd promised to go to counseling, and for 2 weeks he was different. Then one night he came home late. He'd been drinking. He started yelling. When she tried to leave, he blocked the door. She called 911. 2 officers responded. They were Patrick's friends. They didn't arrest him. They told Claire she needed to calm down. Patrick stood in the doorway and watched them leave. The next morning, Claire packed a bag and left. He kept trying. She went to a women's shelter, but they were full. She applied for assistance, but the paperwork took weeks. She tried to keep working, but Patrick kept showing up at the pharmacy. Her manager told her it was creating a problem, so she stopped going. She moved 4 times in 3 months. Every time Patrick found her, she stopped answering her phone. He stopped going to places she used to go. She became very small, very quiet, and no one noticed. I sat with Claire in that room and I thought about all the ways the system is supposed to work. I thought about how none of it had protected her. I told Claire I would help her. I told her I would find a way. She looked at me with eyes that had already given up. "There's no way," she said. And I didn't have an answer. I went back to see Claire 3 times over the next month. Each time she looked a little more tired, a little more distant, like she was fading. The 3rd time I visited, she didn't answer the door. I knocked for 10 minutes. I called her name. Finally, the landlord, Eddie Ruiz, came up the stairs. "She's not here," he said. "She left 2 days ago. Paid through the end of the month and just left." "Did she say where she was going?" Eddie shook his head. "She didn't say much of anything." I stood in that hallway and felt something cold settle in my chest. I went back to my office and I did what I do best. I looked through records. I searched databases. I called people who owed me small favors. Nothing. Claire Hastings had disappeared. Not officially. There was no missing person report. No one had filed anything. She had simply stopped existing in any way the system could see. I thought about calling the police. But what would I say? That a woman I barely knew had moved without telling me? That she had every right to go wherever she wanted? And who would I call? Patrick's colleagues? Patrick's friends? So I did nothing. I told myself Claire had probably left town. Started over somewhere else. That maybe that was the best thing she could have done. I told myself that for 3 weeks. Then I got a call from Eddie Ruiz. "That woman you were looking for," he said. "Claire. I saw her." "Where?" "At the emergency room. I was there with my daughter. Broken arm. And I saw Claire in the waiting area. She looked bad, Miss Sinclair. Really bad." I left work early. I drove to Lancaster General Hospital. I went to the emergency room and I asked about Claire Hastings. The nurse at the desk looked at her computer. "We had a Claire Hastings here yesterday," she said. "But she left before she was seen." Left. She checked herself out. Against medical advice. "Do you know why she came in?" The nurse looked at me. "I can't share that information." I nodded. I understood. But then the nurse glanced around and leaned forward slightly. "Between you and me," she said quietly, "she came in because someone hurt her. And then someone else came looking for her. A police officer. And after that she left." I felt my stomach drop. "Thank you," I said. I left the hospital and I sat in my car in the parking lot. I sat there for a long time. I thought about Claire's face when she told me there was no way out. I thought about Patrick Hastings in his uniform. I thought about all the women whose files crossed my desk. All the women who asked for help and didn't get it. All the women who just disappeared. And I thought about something my mother told me a long time ago. She said the world is not fair. She said the system is not built to protect people like us. She said sometimes the only way to survive is to become someone the system can't ignore. But Claire didn't know how to do that. Claire was quiet. Claire was ordinary. Claire played by the rules. And the rules had failed her. I started the car. I drove home. I made dinner. I sat at my kitchen table and I stared at the wall. And I made a decision. I decided I was going to find Claire. I was going to help her whether she wanted help or not. Because no one else was going to do it. The next morning I started looking again. I called every shelter within 50 miles. I called churches. I called social service agencies. I described Claire to people who see dozens of women like her every single day. No one had seen her. I went to the CVS where she used to work. I talked to her former coworkers. Most of them barely remembered her. One woman did. Her name was Lisa. She was maybe 25. She looked tired. Claire was nice, Lisa said. Quiet, kept to herself. But she was good at her job. Do you know why she left? Lisa hesitated. Her husband kept coming in. First it seemed normal, like he was just stopping by. But then it got weird. He'd stand there and watch her. He'd wait until her shift ended and follow her out. Our manager talked to her about it. Said it was making customers uncomfortable. What did Claire say? She didn't say anything. She just stopped coming in. Did anyone try to help her? Lisa looked down. We all knew something was wrong. But nobody wanted to get involved. You know. I knew. If you want to hear how this story ends, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share. Stories like Claire's need to be told. I kept searching. I found Claire 4 days later. She was staying in a motel on Route 30. The kind of place that rents rooms by the week and doesn't ask questions. I knocked on the door of room 12. I waited. The door opened a crack. Claire looked out. When she saw me, something flickered across her face. Relief maybe. Or resignation. She let me in. The room was small and dark. The curtains were drawn. There was a bed, a chair, a television that wasn't on. Claire sat on the edge of the bed. I sat in the chair. She had a bruise on her cheek. Her lip was split. He saw me looking. He found me, she said. At the hospital. I don't know how. But he found me. What happened? He followed me when I left. He waited until I was alone. He told me I needed to come home. I said no. He grabbed me. I got away. Her voice was flat. Like she was talking about something that had happened to someone else. Claire, I said. You need to report this. She laughed. It was a terrible sound. To who? The police? His friends? The same people who didn't believe me the first time? The second time? Then we go to the state police. We go to the FBI. We find someone outside the department. And say what? That a cop is harassing his wife? That he grabbed me in a parking lot? That I have a bruise? Do you know how many women have bruises, Harriet? Do you know how many of them get justice? He was right. I knew she was right. We sat in silence. What are you going to do? I asked. Claire looked at me. Her eyes were empty. I don't know, she said. I used to think I'd leave. Go somewhere far away. Change my name. Start over. But I'm so tired, Harriet. I'm so tired of running. I'm so tired of being scared. Then stop running, I said. What? Stop running. Stop hiding. Stop being the one who has to leave. I don't understand. I wasn't sure I understood either. But I knew something had to change. Patrick has taken everything from you, I said. Your home. Your job. Your safety. Your life. And he's done it because the system lets him. Because no one is stopping him. No one can stop him. Maybe, I said. But maybe someone can make him pay. Claire stared at me. What are you saying? I didn't answer right away. Because I wasn't sure what I was saying. I wasn't sure what I was offering. But I knew I couldn't walk away. Not this time. I'm saying I'm not going to let you disappear, I said. I'm saying we're going to find a way. Claire's eyes filled with tears. She didn't cry. She just sat there with tears running down her face. Why do you care? She asked. It was a fair question. I thought about it. Because no one cared about me either, I said. A long time ago. And I survived. But I never forgot what it felt like to be invisible. We sat together in that dark motel room. 2 women the world had decided didn't matter. And we started planning. Planning sounds deliberate. Like we had a strategy. Like we knew what we were doing. We didn't. What we had was anger. And desperation. And a growing understanding that the system wasn't broken. It was working exactly the way it was designed to work. Just not for people like Claire. I started going to the motel every evening after work. I'd bring food. We'd sit in that dim room and talk. At first, Claire just wanted to understand why. Why the judge didn't believe her. Why the police protected Patrick. Why every door she tried to open was already locked. I explained it the only way I knew how. Patrick has credibility, I said. He wears a uniform. He has colleagues who vouch for him. He knows the language to use. He knows how to sound reasonable. And I don't. You sound like a victim, I said. And the system doesn't trust victims. It trusts authority. Claire absorbed this in silence. So what do I do? She asked. How do I become someone they believe? You don't, I said. You can't. Not in time. Not before he finds you again. Then what? I didn't have an answer yet, but I was starting to form one. I started pulling files at work. Not obviously. Not all at once. Just a few here and there. Cases involving Patrick Hastings. Arrests he'd made. Reports he'd filed. Complaints against him. There were 3 complaints over the past 6 years. All from women. All dismissed after internal review. One woman said Patrick had been aggressive during a traffic stop. She said he'd searched her car without consent. Touched her longer than necessary during a pat-down. Another woman said Patrick had responded to a domestic call at her apartment. She said he'd come back later, off duty, and asked her inappropriate questions. Told her she could call him if she needed anything. The 3rd complaint was from a woman named Angela Ruiz. She said Patrick had arrested her boyfriend for assault. She said Patrick kept stopping by her house afterward, asking if she was okay, offering to help. He said she told him to stop. He didn't. All 3 complaints were reviewed by Patrick Sargent. All 3 were found to be unsubstantiated or misunderstandings. The sergeant's name was William Cortez. He'd worked with Patrick for 11 years. I made copies of everything. I took them home. I showed them to Claire. She read through them slowly. Other women, she said quietly. He's done this to other women. Yes. And nothing happened to him. No. Claire set the papers down. She looked at me. So even if I had proof, it wouldn't matter. Even if other women came forward, it wouldn't matter. Because they protect him. Yes, I said. Then what's the point? I understood her exhaustion. I felt it too. But I also felt something else. Something I hadn't felt in years. Rage. Not the hot, explosive kind. The cold, patient kind. The kind that calculates. The point, I said, is that we stop trying to make the system work. And we start making Patrick afraid. Claire looked at me like she didn't recognize me. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I didn't recognize myself either. Over the next 2 weeks, I did something I'd never done before. I used my access. My clearance. My 3 decades of being invisible in rooms where decisions were made. I found out where Patrick lived. What shifts he worked. What bars he went to. Who his friends were. I found out he had a girlfriend. A dispatcher named Monica. 26 years old. She didn't know Patrick was still legally married. I found out Patrick had debt. Credit cards maxed out. A loan on a truck he couldn't afford. Payments to a bookie named Ray Clemens who worked out of a pool hall on the west side. I found out Patrick wasn't the perfect cop everyone thought he was. He was just a man. A man who'd learned how to use his badge to get away with things. I brought all of this to Claire. She looked at the information spread across the motel bed. Bank statements. Schedules. Processes. What do we do with this? She asked. I don't know yet, I said. But knowledge is leverage. And right now Patrick thinks you have nothing. We need to change that. Claire picked up a photo I'd printed. Patrick and Monica at a restaurant. Smiling. He's moved on, Claire said. He has a whole new life. And I'm still hiding in a motel room. That can change, I said. How? I thought about it. About power. About what it means. About how men like Patrick only understand one thing. Fear. If you're still listening, if Claire's story matters to you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share. Some stories don't get told unless we make sure they're heard. The first thing we did was small. We sent an anonymous letter to Monica. We told her Patrick was married. We included a copy of the marriage certificate and the divorce filing where Patrick claimed Claire had abandoned him. We didn't tell Monica about the abuse. We didn't try to turn her against him. We just gave her information. 3 days later, Monica confronted Patrick at the station. It was loud enough that other officers heard. Patrick took a week off work after that. Stress leave. The second thing we did was send copies of the complaint files to a reporter at the Lancaster Intelligencer. A woman named Sarah Chin who'd written articles about police accountability before. We didn't expect much. But Sarah started asking questions. She requested internal affairs records. She interviewed the women who'd filed complaints. 2 of them talked to her. Angela Ruiz was one of them. The story ran on a Tuesday. Front page of the local section. Multiple complaints against Lancaster officer raise questions about department oversight. It wasn't a bombshell. It didn't accuse Patrick of anything criminal. But it named him. It made his record public. Patrick filed a defamation suit against the newspaper 3 days later. And that's when things started to unravel. Because when you file a lawsuit, everything becomes discoverable. Everything becomes part of the public record. Patrick's attorney tried to control the damage. But Sarah Chin was relentless. She filed Freedom of Information requests. She talked to more women. She found patterns. And slowly people started paying attention. Not everyone. Not the department. Not the prosecutors. But the public. The readers. The women who saw themselves in those stories. Claire watched all of this from her motel room. She didn't leave. She didn't contact anyone. She just watched. "Do you think it's working?" she asked me one night. "I don't know," I said. "But he's not invisible anymore. People are asking questions. Will it be enough?" I looked at her. At this woman who'd been broken down so completely that she couldn't imagine justice anymore. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But it's more than you had before." Claire nodded slowly. We sat in silence for a while. Then Claire said something that changed everything. "I want to go home," she said. "What?" "To the house. The one Patrick took from me. I want to go back." "Claire, that's not safe." "I know," she said. "But I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of letting him have everything. If this is going to end, it has to end there. Where it started." I tried to talk her out of it. I told her it was too dangerous. That we needed more time. More leverage. But Claire had made up her mind. She'd spent 2 years running. 2 years disappearing. She was done. And I realized I couldn't stop her. All I could do was make sure she wasn't alone. We went to the house on a Saturday afternoon. I drove. Claire sat in the passenger seat staring out the window. She didn't say anything for the entire 20-minute drive. The house was a small ranch on Maple Street. Beige siding. A front porch with 2 chairs. A lawn that needed mowing. Claire stared at it. "I used to love this house," she said quietly. She didn't finish the thought. Patrick's truck wasn't in the driveway. I checked his schedule. He was working a double shift. He wouldn't be home until after midnight. Claire still had her key. We went in through the front door. The house was different inside. Messy. Mail piled on the counter. Dishes in the sink. Claire walked through slowly. She touched the wall in the hallway. She stopped at the doorway to the bedroom. She walked into the kitchen. She stood in the center of the room and looked down at the floor. "This is where he held me down," she said. "Right here." Her voice was still flat. Distant. We stayed for an hour. Claire gathered a few things. Some clothes. Some photographs. A jewelry box her grandmother had given her. We were about to leave when Claire stopped. He went back to the bedroom. Then she came back holding something. A notebook. Dark blue. Worn at the edges. "What is that?" I asked. "A journal," she said. "I kept it hidden. I wrote down everything that happened. Every time he hurt me. I thought he'd find it if I took it with me." She opened it. Pages and pages of handwriting. Dates. Details. "This is evidence," I said. Claire shook her head. "It's just my word. Written down. It proves you documented it." We left the house. We got back in my car. As we pulled away, I saw a car parked down the street. A sedan. Dark blue. Someone sitting in the driver's seat. I didn't say anything to Claire. But I memorized the license plate. When I got home that night, I ran the plate through the system. The car was registered to William Cortez. Patrick's sergeant. Someone was watching the house. I called Claire from my cell phone. I told her not to go back to the motel. I told her to meet me at a diner on the other side of town. She was already scared when she arrived. "What's wrong?" she asked. I told her about the car. About Cortez. Claire went pale. "They know," she said. "We take the journal to Sarah Chin," I said. "We give her everything. We make it public before they can stop us." "And then what? Patrick gets a reprimand?" "I've seen how this ends, Harriet. Nothing happens to him." He was right. I knew she was right. We met with Sarah Chin 2 days later. At a coffee shop in Harrisburg. Sarah was younger than I expected. maybe 30. Sharp eyes. She listened while Claire told her story. She read the journal. "This is good," Sarah said. "With the complaints I already have, I can write something substantial." "Will it matter?" Claire asked. Sarah hesitated. "I can't promise anything. But exposure matters. Sometimes it's enough to start an official investigation." Claire nodded. We left the coffee shop. We drove back to Lancaster in silence. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Cortez watching the house. The story ran 4 days later. Sarah Chin had done her job well. She laid out everything. The complaints. The pattern. Claire's journal entries. The divorce filing. She named Patrick. She named Cortez. She made it impossible to ignore. The response was immediate. The police union defended Patrick. They called the article biased. The police chief announced an internal review. And Patrick called Claire. He showed me the phone. 16 missed calls. A voicemail. We listened to it together. Patrick's voice was calm, measured, but I could hear the rage underneath. "Claire, I know what you're doing, but you're not going to ruin me. You're just making this harder on yourself. Call me. This doesn't have to get worse." Claire deleted the message. Her hand was shaking. "He's going to come for me," she said. "We'll go to the state police," I said. "From who?" "His friends. The system that's already failed me." I didn't have an answer. That night, Claire disappeared again. She didn't tell me where she was going. She didn't answer my calls. I went to the motel. The room was empty. I drove to the house on Maple Street. Her car wasn't there. For 3 days I searched. I called everyone I could think of. I checked hospitals, shelters. Nothing. On the 4th day I got a call from Eddie Ruiz. "Miss Sinclair," he said. "You need to come to the hospital." "It's Claire." My heart stopped. "Is she alive?" "Yes," Eddie said. "But you need to come now." I drove to Lancaster General. I found Eddie in the emergency room. "What happened?" I asked. "They found her car in the river," Eddie said. "Down by the old bridge. She was still inside. A fisherman saw it and called 911. They got her out. She's alive, but..." He didn't finish. "A doctor came out. She told me Claire had hypothermia. Possible head trauma. She was sedated. Stable. Can I see her?" I asked. "Are you family?" "Yes," I lied. "They let me in." Claire was in a bed behind a curtain. 4 lines. Monitors. Her face was bruised. I sat beside her. I took her hand. "I'm sorry," I whispered. I don't know if she heard me. A police officer came in an hour later. "I need to ask you some questions," he said. "About what?" "About Miss Hastings. About the accident." "What accident?" The officer looked at his notepad. "Her car went off the bridge. We're trying to determine if it was intentional." I stared at him. "You think she tried to kill herself?" "We're investigating all possibilities." "Did you check the car for signs of tampering?" I asked. The officer frowned. "Why would we do that?" "Because her husband is a cop who's been stalking her. Because maybe it wasn't an accident." The officer's expression hardened. "Ma'am, I think you need to calm down. I think you need to do your job." He left. I stayed with Claire. She woke up 3 hours later. Groggy. Confused. "Harriet," she whispered. "I'm here," I said. "What happened?" "Your car went into the river. Do you remember?" Claire closed her eyes. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I was driving. It was dark. Someone was following me. I tried to lose them. And then, I don't remember. I just remember the water." "Someone was following you?" "Yes. A truck. Patrick's truck." I felt cold. "Did you tell the police?" Claire looked at me. "Would it matter?" Claire was released from the hospital 3 days later. She had nowhere to go. The motel wouldn't take her back. She had no money, no job, no one except me, so I brought her to my house. I lived alone in a small 2-bedroom on the south side. I'd lived there for 15 years. It was quiet, safe, forgettable. Claire slept for 2 days straight. When she finally woke up, she sat at my kitchen table and stared at nothing. "They ruled it an accident," I told her. "The police. They said you lost control on a wet road." "It wasn't an accident." "I know," Patrick ran me off the road. I saw him. I saw his truck behind me. He kept getting closer. I tried to speed up. I took the turn too fast and she stopped. She put her head in her hands. "No one's going to believe me," she said. He was right. The official report said single vehicle accident. Driver error. No evidence of foul play. Patrick wasn't even questioned. Sarah Chin tried to write a follow-up story connecting the crash to Patrick's harassment. Her editor killed it. Said it was speculation without proof. The internal review at the police department concluded 2 weeks later. Patrick was cleared of all allegations. The department issued a statement saying the complaints against him were unfounded and motivated by personal grievances. Claire read the statement on my laptop. She read it 3 times. Then she closed the computer and walked to the bedroom. She didn't come out for the rest of the day. I sat in my kitchen alone. I thought about everything we'd tried. Everything we'd done. The protective order. The evidence. The media coverage. The journal. None of it had mattered. Patrick was still a cop. He still had his badge. His salary. His credibility. And Claire was still running. Still broken. Still invisible. I thought about my mother again. About what she told me all those years ago. The system isn't built to protect people like us. But she'd also told me something else. Something I'd forgotten until now. She said sometimes survival isn't enough. Sometimes you have to decide what you're willing to lose. That night I made a decision. I waited until Claire was asleep. Then I got in my car and I drove to Patrick's house. His truck was in the driveway. The lights were on inside. I sat in my car across the street. I watched the house. I thought about what I was doing. What it meant. I thought about Claire's face when she told me there was no way out. I thought about all the women whose files I'd processed over the years. All the women who'd asked for help and been turned away. I thought about how Patrick had taken everything from Claire. Her home. Her safety. Her life. And I thought about how he was going to keep doing it. To her. To other women. Forever. Because no one was going to stop him. I started the car. I drove home. But I didn't forget. Over the next 3 weeks I started preparing. I used my access at work to pull more files. Not just Patrick's. Other officers. Other cases. Patterns of misconduct that had been buried. Complaints that had disappeared. I made copies of everything. I stored them in 3 different locations. I opened a new email account. I contacted journalists in Philadelphia. In Harrisburg. In Pittsburgh. I sent them everything I had. Some ignored me. Some said they'd look into it. One called me back. A reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer. His name was Marcus Webb. He said he'd been tracking police misconduct cases across Pennsylvania. He said what I'd sent him was valuable. "Can you go on the record?" he asked. "No," I said. "Then I can't use most of this. I need sources." "I'll find you sources," I said. And I did. I contacted Angela Ruiz. The woman who'd filed a complaint against Patrick years ago. I told her about Claire. About the other women. About the pattern. She agreed to talk to Marcus. I found 2 other women. Both had interactions with Patrick. Both had been too afraid to file official complaints. Both agreed to speak. Marcus started writing. But I knew it wouldn't be enough. I knew the department would circle the wagons. I knew Patrick would be protected. So I did something else. I started following Patrick. Not every day. Just sometimes. I learned his routines. Where he went. Who he met. I saw him with Monica. The girlfriend. They'd gotten back together. She didn't know about Claire's accident. Or maybe she did and didn't care. I saw him at the pool hall. Meeting with Ray Clemens. The bookie. Patrick owed money. More than I'd thought. I saw him drinking. Alone. At a bar on the east side. He'd sit there for hours. Getting angrier. Getting meaner. I watched him. And I waited. If you're still with this story, if you want to know how it ends, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share. These are the stories that need to be heard. Claire started getting better. Slowly. He helped around the house. She started eating again. She even smiled once or twice. But she was different. Quieter. More distant. One night she asked me what I'd been doing. Where I'd been going. I told her the truth. About the files. About the reporters. About following Patrick. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "You're trying to destroy him." Yes. It won't work. You know that. Maybe. But I have to try. Claire looked at me for a long time. Why? She asked. Why are you doing this? I thought about it. About all the reasons. About justice and anger and rage. But when I answered, I told her the simplest truth. Because he hurt you, I said. And no one else cared. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I care too, she said quietly. I want him to pay. I want him to feel what I felt. But I'm scared, Harriet. I'm so scared. I know. What if it doesn't work? What if he comes after us? Then we deal with it. How? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. Marcus Webb's story ran on a Sunday. Front page. It was comprehensive. It named Patrick. It named other officers. It outlined a pattern of misconduct and institutional protection. It included testimony from 4 women, including Angela Ruiz. It called for an independent investigation. The response was massive. The police union went on the offensive. They called it a hit piece. They said Marcus had an agenda. The mayor announced a task force to review the allegations. The FBI opened a preliminary inquiry. And Patrick disappeared. He didn't show up for work. He didn't answer his phone. His truck wasn't at his house. For 2 days no one knew where he was. Then Monica called 911. She said Patrick had shown up at her apartment drunk and threatening. She said he'd broken furniture. She said he'd grabbed her and shoved her against the wall. She said she was afraid. Police responded. Patrick's colleagues. They found him passed out in Monica's living room. They arrested him. Not for assault. For public intoxication and disorderly conduct. He was released 6 hours later. But something had shifted. Monica filed a protective order. And this time it was granted. Patrick's attorney tried to fight it. But the judge had read Marcus's article. The judge had questions. Patrick was suspended pending investigation. Claire watched all of this unfold from my living room. She watched the news coverage. She read the articles. She saw Patrick's face on television. And she started to believe just a little that maybe something was changing. But I knew better. I knew Patrick was dangerous now. Cornered. Desperate. I knew he blamed Claire for everything. And I knew he was coming. Patrick found us on a Thursday night in March. I don't know how. Maybe he'd been watching my house. Maybe someone told him. Maybe he just knew. Claire and I were in the kitchen. I was making tea. She was reading at the table. The knock on the door was soft. Polite. I looked through the peephole. Patrick was standing on my porch. He was wearing jeans and a jacket. No uniform. He looked tired. Older. Don't open it, Claire whispered behind me. She'd gone completely still. I'm calling the police, I said. I am the police, Patrick called through the door. I just want to talk to Claire. 5 minutes. That's all. Leave or I'm calling 911, I said. Claire, Patrick said. His voice was different now. Softer. Almost pleading. Please. I know you're in there. I just need to talk to you. I need you to understand. Claire stood up. She walked toward the door. Don't, I said. But she kept walking. She stopped a few feet from the door. I have nothing to say to you, she called out. You've destroyed my life, Patrick said. My career. My reputation. Everything. And for what? Because I tried to help you? Because I tried to save our marriage. You tried to kill me, Claire said. Her voice was shaking but clear. That's a lie. You know it's a lie. The accident was investigated. You lost control. That's all. You ran me off the road. Prove it. There was silence. Then Patrick's voice changed again. Harder. Colder. You can't prove anything, Claire. You never could. That's why this whole thing is falling apart. That's why the FBI is going to find nothing. That's why I'm going to get my job back. And when I do, I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you really are. What's that? Claire asked. A liar. A vindictive, mentally unstable liar who couldn't handle being married to someone with authority. I pulled out my phone. I called 911. I need police at 847 Chestnut Street, I said. There's a man at my door threatening us. Is he armed? The dispatcher asked. I looked at Claire. She was staring at the door. I don't know, I said. Officers are on the way, the dispatcher said. I heard it in Patrick's voice through the door. He'd heard me too. You called the cops on me, he said. You called my colleagues? Do you think they're going to do anything? Do you think they're going to arrest me for knocking on a door? He was right. But I kept the dispatcher on the line anyway. They're coming, I said. You need to leave. I'll leave when I'm ready, Patrick said. Then we heard something else. The sound of breaking glass. Patrick had gone around to the back of the house. He's breaking in, I told the dispatcher. Claire ran to the bedroom. I followed her. She was pulling the window open. We have to go, she said. No, I said. We stay here. We lock the door. We wait for the police. The police won't help us. You know that. He was climbing out the window. I grabbed her arm. Claire, wait. I'm done waiting, she said. And she dropped down into the backyard. I stood at the window. I heard Patrick inside the house now. I heard him calling Claire's name. I climbed out the window. Claire was already running. Across the yard. Into the alley. I followed her. My heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. Behind us I heard Patrick shouting. We ran for 3 blocks. For Claire knew the streets better than I did. She led us through alleys and between houses. Finally we stopped. We were behind a closed grocery store. Claire was bent over, gasping. We can't run forever, I said. I know, Claire said. We have to end this. How? I didn't answer. Because I finally understood what my mother had meant. Sometimes you have to decide what you're willing to lose. We went back to my house an hour later. 2 police cars were parked outside. Officers were talking to Patrick on the porch. He was calm, cooperative. When they saw us, one of the officers walked over. Are you Harriet Sinclair? He asked. Yes. Did you call 911? Yes. He broke into my house. The officer looked back at Patrick. He says he knocked and you didn't answer. He says he was worried because his wife was inside. He says he entered through an unlocked back door. That's a lie, I said. We heard glass breaking. We didn't find any broken glass, the officer said. I stared at him. Check the back door, I said. We did. It's unlocked. Because he unlocked it after he broke the window. The officer sighed. Ma'am, I understand you're upset. But we can't arrest someone for entering a house to check on his wife. She's not his wife anymore, I said. The divorce isn't final, the officer said. Legally, they're still married. Claire stepped forward. He has a protective order against him, she said. From another woman. Monica Herrera. He's not supposed to be near anyone. The officer checked his notes. That order doesn't include you. It should, Claire said. Maybe. But it doesn't. Patrick walked over. The other officers didn't stop him. Claire, he said. Can we please just talk? Alone. No, Claire said. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to fix this. We can still fix this. There's nothing to fix, Claire said. You destroyed everything. We destroyed everything, Patrick said. Both of us. But we can still walk away from this. You drop the stories. You tell them you were confused. You were hurt. And I'll drop the defamation suit. We'll both move on. You want me to lie, Claire said. I want us to survive this, Patrick said. Claire looked at him. Really looked at him. No, she said. I'm done surviving. I'm done running. I'm done being afraid of you. Something changed in Patrick's face. You're making a mistake, he said quietly. No, Claire said. You made the mistake. You thought I'd disappear. You thought I'd stay quiet. You thought I was nothing. You are nothing, Patrick said. And that's when Claire pulled out her phone. She'd been recording the entire conversation. Patrick realized at the same moment I did. You recorded me, he said. Without my consent. That's illegal. Pennsylvania is a 2-party consent state, the officer said. She can't use that. Claire looked at the officer. Then at Patrick. Then at me. And she smiled. It was the first real smile I'd seen from her in months. I don't care, she said. She uploaded the recording right there. To social media. To her email. To Sarah Chin. To Marcus Webb. Within minutes it was everywhere. Patrick lunged for her phone. The officers grabbed him. Finally they grabbed him. He was yelling. Screaming. All the calm was gone now. All the control. You stupid bitch, he shouted. You have no idea what you've done. You have no idea who you're dealing with." The officers pulled him away. They put him in the back of a patrol car. Not under arrest. Just to calm down, they said. But everyone had heard him. Everyone had seen him. The mask had finally slipped. Claire and I stood in my driveway and watched the police cars leave. "What happens now?" Claire asked. "I don't know," I said. But I knew it wasn't over. It was never going to be over. Not until one of them was gone. The recording went viral. Not nationally. Not the way things go viral when celebrities are involved. But locally it spread fast. People in Lancaster saw it. People who knew Patrick. People who defended him. They heard his voice. They heard him call Claire a bitch. They heard the rage. The police union tried to spin it. They said Patrick was under extreme stress. They said he'd been provoked. They said the recording was taken out of context. But it didn't matter anymore. The FBI investigation expanded. They started looking at not just Patrick but the entire department. The culture. The protection. Marcus Webb wrote another story. This one included the recording. It included statements from Monica. From Angela Ruiz. From 2 other women who'd finally agreed to come forward. The mayor called for Patrick's resignation. Patrick refused. So they fired him. It happened on a Tuesday. 3 weeks after the recording was released. Patrick lost his badge. His gun. His authority. Everything he'd used to control Claire was gone. Claire cried when she heard. Not from relief. From something else. Something heavier. "It's not enough," she said. "What do you mean?" "He's still out there. He's still free. He lost his job but he didn't lose his life. Not the way I lost mine." I understood what she meant. Justice when it finally came didn't feel like justice. It felt incomplete. Patrick disappeared for a while after that. No one knew where he went. Monica said he'd left town. His apartment was empty. Claire started to breathe again. He started looking for work. She talked about finding her own place. "You don't have to leave," I told her. "I know," she said. "But I need to. I need to prove to myself that I can." She got a job at a pharmacy in Harrisburg. 40 minutes away. Far enough from Lancaster that she felt safe. She found a small apartment. 1 bedroom. Clean. Quiet. I helped her move in. "Thank you," she said. "For everything. For believing me when no one else did." "You don't have to thank me," I said. "Yes, I do. You saved my life, Harriet." I didn't know if that was true. But I nodded. Claire lived in that apartment for 2 months. He went to work. He came home. She started therapy. She started rebuilding. And then Patrick found her again. It was a Saturday morning in June. Claire was walking to her car in the parking lot of her apartment building. Patrick was waiting. A neighbor saw it. An older woman named Mrs. Chen. She was on her balcony having coffee. She saw Patrick approach Claire. He saw them talk. She couldn't hear what they said. She saw Patrick grab Claire's arm. She saw Claire try to pull away. She saw Patrick pull something from his jacket. Mrs. Chen called 911. But it was already too late. Patrick shot Claire 3 times. Chest, stomach, neck. Then he turned the gun on himself. The police found them both in the parking lot. Claire was already gone. Patrick died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. I got the call from Sarah Chen. She'd heard it on the police scanner. I drove to Harrisburg. I don't remember the drive. I just remember arriving at the parking lot and seeing the yellow tape. The blood on the asphalt. I stood there for a long time. I thought about everything we'd done. Everything we'd tried. All the ways we'd fought. And I thought about how none of it had been enough. Patrick had lost everything. His job. His reputation. His future. But he'd made sure Claire lost more. The story made headlines. Former officer kills ex-wife, then self. Domestic violence tragedy in Harrisburg. Woman who accused officer of abuse found dead. The articles talked about warning signs. About the system's failures. About how we need to do better. But Claire was still dead. There was a small funeral. I was there. Sarah Chen came. Marcus Webb. A few people from Claire's work. Eddie Ruiz. No one from Patrick's family came. No one from the police department. We buried Claire on a Thursday. It was raining. I stood at her grave and I thought about the first time I saw her. Sitting on that bench outside the courtroom. Holding her folder. Waiting. I thought about how she'd trusted the system, how she'd believed someone would help her. I thought about how wrong she'd been. After the funeral, Marcus Webb asked if I wanted to give a statement. Something for his article. "What would you want people to know about Claire?" he asked. I thought about it. "I'd want them to know she tried," I said. "She did everything right. She asked for help. She documented everything. She went public. She fought. And it still wasn't enough. Because the system isn't designed to protect women like Claire. It's designed to protect men like Patrick." Marcus wrote it all down. "What about you?" he asked. "What are you going to do now?" I looked at him. "I'm going back to work," I said. "I'm going to keep processing files. Keep seeing the same patterns. Keep watching the system fail." "That sounds depressing." "It is," I said. "But someone has to bear witness. Someone has to remember." The investigation continued after their deaths. The FBI released a report 6 months later. They found systemic issues in the Lancaster Police Department. Inadequate oversight. A culture of protecting officers over victims. 3 officers were disciplined. 1 was fired. The chief retired. Reforms were promised. Training. Better procedures. Accountability. I read the report in my office. I filed it with all the others. And I thought about Claire. About how she'd become a statistic. A cautionary tale. A reason for reform. But she'd never be more than that to most people. To me, she was the woman who trusted me. Who let me into her life when she had nothing left. Who fought until she couldn't fight anymore. I still work in the records department. I still process files. I still see women like Claire every day. Women who are scared. Women who are trapped. Women who believe the system will save them. I try to help when I can. I make copies of documents. I give advice. I connect them with people like Sarah Chin and Marcus Webb. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But I keep trying. Because Claire is gone. And Patrick is gone. But the system that failed her is still here. And I'm still here too. Bearing witness. Remembering. Making sure that Claire Hastings wasn't just another woman who disappeared. She mattered. Her life mattered. Her death mattered. And I'll make sure no one forgets that. If this story meant something to you, if Claire's story reminded you of someone you know or something you've lived through, please share it. Stories like this need to be told. They need to be heard. Like, subscribe, and help make sure these voices aren't silenced. My name is Harriet Sinclair. And this was Claire's story. But it's also the story of every woman the system has failed. Every woman who asked for help and didn't get it. Every woman who fought and lost. I'm still here. Still watching. Still remembering. And I won't stop. Not ever.